Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Samantha and today I'm sharing with you a testing video, but today rather than a palette I am testing out some brushes. And the brushes that I'm testing today are from Beautybay. They're the EYN Iconic 12-piece brush set with a bag. Okay, so the packaging looks like this. The packaging all through the EYN collection is this kind of purple packaging, but it's also got that iridescent look to it as well. So that rainbow look with all those multicolours in there as well. You get the Beautybay logo there and of course the EYN logo there. And then of course here's the iconic 12-piece brush set with bag. On the back it gives you a little bit of information about the brushes, and then it also gives you the rundown of what brushes are in here. So you're getting a no filter foundation stippling brush, make them blush angled blusher brush, an all-rounder domed an all-rounder domed buffer brush, powder me up powder brush, a glow getter fan brush, throw shade shading brush, shade out small shading brush, blurred lines medium blender brush, perfect blend large blender brush, cut crease pencil brush, on fleek brow brush, and a winging it angled liner brush. Now it says on here that all brushes in the iconic 12-piece set are cruelty free and vegan friendly. And what it does say at the top is covering all the essentials you need for your daily routine. The iconic 12-piece brush set contains a selection of face and eye brushes in a convenient brush bag, buffing and blending makeup to a flawless and precise finish. Each brush is crafted with super soft synthetic bristles formulated to mimic natural hair, combining a premium design with top functionality. The bristles are also designed to be easy clean, antibacterial and extra durable. So obviously I will let you know if they are easy clean. So yeah, you've got all of that information on the back as well as cruelty free and vegan. So that is the box that it will come in. Then it comes in this as well, which is a little brush bag. So you also get the Beautybay logo there, and there it says buff, blend, pat, swipe, dust, sweep and sculpt on there. And I must say, when you open this I think is the most sturdiest zip that I have ever come across. And then inside it is fully lined with what comes is the patination that comes inside their packaging for the actual eyeshadow boxes as well. So on the front of it you have that design in purple or lilac, and on the back it is plain, but it does feel very, very well made. So that's the packaging. Now moving on to the brushes, I'll just show you that how the larger 4 face brushes come to you. So they come with this plastic. In fact, all of the brushes come with this plastic over them, so every single one. But the larger face brushes come like this. So they have this little mesh here covering that. You just obviously remove that. The only other one that is slightly different is the fan brush, which I'll just pop it on, and the fan brush comes in this plastic packaging to obviously ensure that it doesn't lose its shape or get messed up if you're going to keep all of the brushes in that case. So that's what those look like. Now let's go through the main brushes, which are the face brushes. So this is the no filter foundation stippling brush used me to apply and blend foundation. So you can see here that this foundation brush is quite, well, it's a brush of 2 halves, because you get this base colour here, which some are like 3/4 of the way up, and then you have the white part there. So it's quite long and it's not as dense as what I usually use, so I'll be very interested to see how this works. You get this main part of the brush here, obviously keeping the bristles in place, and on each brush you can see there will be a bee there on this silver part. The handle itself is black and shiny, as you can see, and following on from the packaging of the lining of the bag, that then follows onto the handle itself. So you get lots of little pictures on there, like for example diamonds, lips, little yeah, that kind of thing basically. And there's random shapes as well, like the one that's on the bag. So that is what that one looks like. So that's your foundation brush. We then have a Make Them blush, and that's an angled blusher brush. Use Me to Sweep blusher onto your cheeks. So that's the blush brush. Then we have an all-rounder, which is the Doomed Buffer brush. Use Me to buff foundation and concealer for extra coverage. Okay, so that's that one. Then we have Powder Me Up, which is the powder brush. Use Me to dust on setting powder. So that's your largest brush there. I also like the fact that they're all, obviously apart from the foundation brush because that is like pure white at the top, but these are like, I really like that two-tone effect. Looks really nice, and they all feel extremely soft. Then of course you've got the Glow Getter, which is a fan brush. Use Me to apply highlighter to the high points of your face. So that's that one there. Okay, now this one gets a little bit confusing when you move on to the eye brushes. I think the only downside to these brushes that I can see at the moment is the fact that they don't have the name of the actual brush written on them. So it's a little bit confusing moving on to these brushes, but what I'll do is I'll just show you them all like that and then go through them. So you've got Throw Shade, a shading brush. Use Me to apply eyeshadow to your lids. Shade Out, small shading brush. Use Me to apply eyeshadow to the lower lash line. Blurred Lines, medium blender brush. Use Me to blend eyeshadows together. Perfect Blend, large blender brush. Use Me to smoke out eyeshadow. Cut Crease, pencil brush. Use Me to create a cut crease effect. On Fleek, brow brush. Use Me to apply brow powders and pomades. And Winging It, angled liner brush. Use Me to apply liquid liner and powder eyeliners. Now if you're a regular viewer, you know that I usually use just one brush, which I find, or perhaps three, because obviously, you know, I use one for the eyeshadow, one for like a liner, one for similar to this, you know, buffing, and perhaps another one, but also another one like a pointed brush for the inner corner. Those are all I use. I do find it gets a little bit confusing with too many brushes, but I'm going to try and use as many of these as I can for you and see how I get on. Now obviously there is a promotion running at the moment. This is £25, this brush set, if you want to purchase it, you know, without purchasing anything else, or, you know, you're purchasing something else from outside of the promotion. But inside the promotion, if you purchase 2 of these Colour Theory palettes, so their original collection, you receive this brush set free. If you purchase 1, you receive 1 single brush from the Rose Gold collection. Sorry, trying to say all my words together. And then if you purchase 3 of these Colour Theory palettes, you then receive the whole collection of the Rose Gold iron face brushes, I think, but it's a brush collection anyway. That is worth £39. The single brush, if you purchase 1 of these, is worth £3, and then of course I purchased 2, so that is worth £25. I'll just go through that again. So 1 palette, 1 Colour Theory palette, is equal to a £3 Rose Gold brush. You get that for free. 2 palettes, you're getting this brush collection that I've just shared with you, which is worth £25. And if you purchase 3 palettes, you then receive the whole brush collection from the Rose Gold collection, and that is worth £39. Everything will be listed down below as always, and the link to these brushes as well will be down below, as well as the code. Now if you pop one of these palettes in the in your basket and you would like then the free brush to go along with that, you just input a code, and I'll add that code down below as well. Okay, so let's get on to the makeup. Now what I'm going to do is I've applied my brows just because I'll probably be here all day. I don't know why, but I'm having problems with my brows just recently, so I thought I'd apply those to start with, but everything else I will be applying on camera. So as always with me, it's probably going to be a little bit of a long video. Apologies, but you know, that's what I do basically. So I'm going to apply first of all, and obviously I like to go in depth for you. This is the Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer. I'm just going to apply that. I'm getting to the end of this actually. So probably no brush needed actually for this, because I always use my finger. But obviously I will be using as many brushes as I can, trying to get right to the all of that concealer. I like to use every scrap of it. And with my finger I just tap it and then swipe it through. Like that. Sometimes I go in with a second layer, but we'll see. Okay, so that's the first layer applied. Now for my foundation. It's the Revolution Conceal and Define Full Coverage Foundation. The concealer is in C4 and the foundation is in F4. So I'm just going to use the applicator to pat that all over the face. And then of course we can see how the first brush applies this foundation. I usually use very, very inexpensive brushes, so it's going to be quite interesting. I'm coming to the end of this as well, as you can tell. I have got backups anyway. So I'm going to be very interested to see how this applies. Now, like I said, usually I go for a brush, or I use a brush that is about that length and it is quite dense. So let me go in with this one and see how I get on. Very, very soft. Just making light work of it. There's certainly no brush marks, which I'm impressed with. Now, I have used brushes like this in the past and always been disappointed because I found that they give me like brush marks, but not this one. It's really given me an even coverage actually. Really like it, but I need more foundation. Very gently going through the middle there. Don't want to take away my brows at this stage, but I don't know why I'm having such problems with them at the moment. But you know, it is what it is. A little bit more coverage here where I've got some marks on my skin. Really making sure that I'm buffing that in, because what I want to do is obviously make sure that I really buff that in to see if it is going to distribute it well or leave me with marks. Now I must say that that has done really well. It's not soaked up too much foundation, and I use a clean brush every single day. I used to use one brush and use it for a month or so, and that's before and that was when I was at work. I didn't have time to clean my brushes too much, and I found that I was getting spots, not because of the brush routine or foundation or anything like that. It was because I had a little bit of adult acne. I've now removed that or got rid of that by washing my brushes every day, and my skin is looking fairly clear, as you saw there at the beginning, although I do get a spot now and again. So I do wash my brushes and use a clean brush every day. So I suppose I do tend to see if I'm using a lot of foundation, because I suppose what I'm trying to say is that a foundation brush, sometimes you have to prime it, just like you do, you know, if you're painting using a brush or whatever. You have to put a little bit of foundation, in this case, on here, and then it tends to not soak up anymore, if you know what I mean. But this actually hasn't soaked up too much, and it's distributed all of the product on my face. So yeah, really, I really love that. No brush marks whatsoever. Love it. Okay, very impressed with that so far. Now what I'm going to do is I then go in with, and let me just put the lid on the foundation, I then go in with my powder. So I'm just going to pat underneath my eyes, and I'm going to use not that one, this one, which I've forgotten what they called it now. They called it the all-rounder domed buffer brush, so that one. And I'm going to get my Revolution Pro powder foundation. I love this stuff so much, so I'm going to use this to set underneath the eye, and again just pat that into place. Okay, and then I'm going to just dust that lightly over the rest of my face. Like that. Okay, so yeah, really like this. It fits lovely underneath there. Works perfectly to apply, you know, the powder to your concealer area. Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this brush, which is the powder, is it Powder Me Up? Powder blush. I'm just thinking, what am I going to use for my Powder Me Up powder brush? Use me to dust on. I don't need to do that, so I think I'm going to have to use this for bronzer. So this large brush, they haven't actually got a bronzer brush here. The only thing that they've got is this for your blush, but they haven't got a powder brush as in a bronzer brush. But I'm going to use this one because it's large, it's fluffy, and I've obviously put all my powder on, so I don't need to do anything else. This is the Revolution Bronzer Reloaded in Holiday Romance. It's absolutely battered. I've used it so much. It's even got a dent in it, and I never dent these kind of products. So I'm going to go in with that and start. I don't think I've actually, let me just, maybe a little bit of powder or something on my forehead. Right, let's go in. Now usually I use the NYX fan brush, which I've been using for years now, which I absolutely love, and so I'll be very intrigued to see how this works. Now it's certainly giving a lovely even coverage. Oh, that's building it up nicely now. Let me just get that fringe out of the way for a moment. Yeah, that's actually given a really nice even coverage there on the forehead. I suppose sometimes with the fan brush I do get a little bit of a harsh kind of line around the outside of my face, just because, I don't know, that's how I apply it. But this has given a really even coverage. Let's try this area. Still very soft. Beautiful brushes. I suppose you can use these brushes for whatever you would like. Obviously I'm trying to follow what Beautybay is recommending, but you know, now this is quite light, so I do tend to pile it on a little bit, but yeah, love it. That has given such a beautiful finish. Oh, love that. Perhaps it is time to change from the NYX fan brush to a proper powder brush. That is beautiful, very soft. Gorgeous. I usually take it all the way around my face. Okay, so that is the bronzer applied. Really, really love that. That has given me a beautiful finish. Absolutely gorgeous. Now I'm going to use the blush brush. So this they're calling the Make Them Blush brush, and I'm going into the shade, still the same range, so the bronzer Reloaded from Revolution. I'm going in with Long Weekend now, which is a shade deeper. So it's that one, just to go in the hollows of my cheek. I don't really use a so-called contour shade. I just use a deeper shade of bronzer, and that seems to work for me. So I'm going to use this. There's not a bronzer, no, a contour brush here, but I suppose you could use this, couldn't you? And then I'm going to clean it off. So I'm going into that. Do you use it? I don't use these, you can tell. I just use that. Oh, that's better. I'm so used to using one side of the NYX brush. But yeah, then I'm going to go back to that powder brush and just buff that. That's lovely. That gives such a beautiful finish. Love that so much. Now I'm going to, I can't see, must have lost it. Anyway, I'm just wiping it on my hand. That will be fine. Okay, I'm now moving on to the Revolution blush palette, and this is Hot Spice. Love this so much. And again, sticking with that Make Them Blush brush, obviously. What shall I go into today? I'll go into this shade here, second along bottom row. Wow, that has picked up a lot of blush. So, I don't know why they make blush brushes so angled. I prefer I would have preferred a smaller, I think I would prefer a larger, perhaps this would work as my blush brush. I'm not that keen on this as a blush brush. I think I would prefer this as the contour brush. Right, so now what I'm going to do is just get my foundation brush, just blend that in a little bit, like that. Beautiful. Okay, now I'm going to use the fan brush. So this is called the Glow Getter. So the Glow Getter, and I'm going into my Nip and Fab You OK Hun highlight palette, which I'm absolutely obsessed with, and I'm going into the middle shade, which is called Wannabe. Love, love, love it. I've never used a fan brush. Actually, I'll do it on this side so you can see. There's also there's a little bit of shimmer on there already because of the shimmer from the bronzer. It's lovely, isn't it? Really given a beautiful sheen. I'll probably have to go over it because I don't really like anything too much, but it just seems so thin and flimsy. Anyway. It's doing the job. It's so thin, but I suppose that's what fan brushes. I've never used one, so I don't know what to expect. But they're fantastic. Just having to build it up a little bit. There we go. We've got the sheen now. I'm just going to go over the highlight again with my foundation brush, just because I like more of a glow from within. And I'm just going back to the, where's the fan brush again? Just going back into Wannabe. Like that. Okay, I do love this. I think it really does give it a beautiful sheen. It's just so different from the flex brush that I use, but actually, you know, it's good. Not bad at all, just something to get used to, I think. Okay, now moving on to the eyes. So we've done the face now. I'm going to use the Origin palette that I picked up that was brand new. I don't know what I've done with the original, so I picked up a second, and obviously this promotion enabled me to pick up another palette, Evolve, which I shared with you yesterday, this one, and obviously those three brushes. I always get it round the wrong way, so yeah, now moving on to this palette. I'll just show you this palette if you are thinking of picking one of these up. So the front is like that, and I'll link yesterday's video down below if you want to have a look at the Evolve palette. I love this so much and was so upset when I couldn't find it. I'll also link the two videos that I've already shared of this palette down below, so that will give you swatches and a little bit of an introduction to this palette. Obviously I'm just using it to create my eye look today. Really love it. It's a mix of mattes and shimmers. The first 4 rows, as you can see, are all matte, and then the bottom 2 are your shimmer shades. You also have, it's like a easy step palette, because each row is equal to 1 eye look, but of course you can swap and use whichever you would like. So which one shall I use today? Now I did a pink look yesterday, so I think what am I going to do? I'm not going to do a rosy tone, I'm not going to do like a berry tone, so I've got a neutral. So I'm going to, I think, go in with row 1, or should I go with row 2? No, I'm going in with row 1. It's a nude or neutral look, I should say, not nude, neutral look. So I'm going to first of all use this brush, which is the largest and fluffiest brush. I'm not going to go through the names of these, I think it's a little bit confusing, but I'll just describe them because the names are not on the back, they're not applied onto the brush as well, so it is a little bit confusing. So I'm going into that base shade, and first of all I've got to actually apply my conceal and define, which I needed to do first of all, and I'm going to use this one, which is the flat one, and it's rounded, and this is my conceal and define, hence why I picked up another one. Nearly went in with none of this. Really like this brush. Oh, that is beautiful for carving out the brow. It's also distributing the product very, very easily and evenly. Now usually when I apply this, I then have to pat it into place, but I won't have to do that with this brush. It's quite dense, and it really gives you that sharpness, that sharp line, especially under the brow. I wonder if this is the one that they said to use for cutting out the crease, because this would work perfectly. Wow, really love that for going underneath the brow. Anything that you need to, like, cut your crease, clean up your brow, apply obviously your base as I've just done, that is going to work beautifully. I love that brush so much. I'm not even going to have to pat that into place at all. So where's my fluffy brush? I'm going in obviously with that base shade now, and that fluffy, really fluffy brush. Just set that in place now. Like so. Now this is going to be tricky. I only ever use the Primark PS Eye contour brush. I never feel comfortable using anything else, so this is going to be very interesting. I'm going to go in with this one, which is like a domed eye brush, and I suppose it's the next size down from this one, the fluffy one that I used to apply the base. Or should I go in? No, I'm going to go in with this one. And I'm using the transitional shade from that row. Wow, is that pigmented? Okay, I'm just going to pat a little bit of that off, and I'm popping that obviously in the crease. Okay, so far so good. It's firm, but it's also fluffy at the same time. So it's firm enough to apply into the crease and small enough to get into the crease, but also it's a little bit fluffy, or it's fluffy enough to then bring that shadow up. So really like this brush, really love it. A little bit more. Love that. Okay. So that is the first colour laid down. Then we go into the crease. Okay, I'm just thinking, yeah, I'm going to use this one. So this is your crease. Well, what I'm going to use the crease brush, and it's wider and then goes thinner. And I'm going into the third shade. Yeah, that works beautifully. Lovely. Okay. I think I've chosen the only crease shade that's got a little bit of shimmer in it, but that's fine. Really pleased with that, actually. I have tried other looks using other brushes, and because I love the eye contour brush so much, I've never got on with another brush. But this, the second brush that I've used, or third, love that so much. That's worked beautifully. Really given me the depth in the crease that I need. What I'm also going to do with this one is, because it's got that flat angle, it's going to go perfectly underneath the lash line. So I'm just going to go into the transitional shade. So I've got a little bit of a mix of the transition and the crease. Just pop that underneath because, whoops, first of all, I want it to be a little bit fluffy, a little bit blended underneath there. Lovely. Okay, now for the liner. Now I always get confused with this liner within these palettes, because although they're saying liner, it's more for even more depth. So I need a second colour for the crease, and I'm going in with what they're calling a liner. Ooh, that's a little bit pigmented. And the brush I'm using is this brush, which is the smallest fluffy brush out of the collection. So beautiful, worked very, very nicely. So really keeping that in that outer V and the very outer crease there, like that, and then again on the other side. And I'm just going back to this brush, which was the second brush that I used, the second fluffy. And I'm just going to blend that area out there. Just take it out a little bit further. Okay. Now also you get this brush, which is like a flat brush, and that's going to work beautifully for any liner work. So I'm going into that liner shade now, and what I'm going to do is just press it now. So it gives me a little bit of a line. That works beautifully, and then I'm going to do the same thing underneath the lash line. Perfect. Okay, so it really does give you that line. If you do want to blend that out, you will need to use another brush. This is extremely firm. Okay, so that's that done. I think what I'm also going to do is go back with this brush, which is the last fluffy brush, and whatever's remaining on there, oops, don't know where that came from, I'm just going to blend that out a little bit, like so, a little bit harsh. I like it to be a little bit softer, like that. Now for the pop of colour, and their pop is that today, so it's a gorgeous gold. I'm going to use my finger for this. I always use a finger for shimmer. There's no other brushes apart from the brow brush, which I'm going to use for something else because I've already done my brows today. I'll probably go in again with the liner shade. That is beautiful. Just need to wipe my finger. Okay, so I'm just going to go back in with this, and that's that flat, thin brush, the liner brush, I'm going to call it. Going in with the liner shade again, and this time I'm going all the way along. Obviously, if you really wanted an intense line, you could wet the brush a little bit with a little bit of spray. But that has certainly given, you know, a little bit of definition there. Okay, and I think because I've now gone in with the lid shade, I'm just getting a little bit more of that liner colour. Like that, and deepen that out. Then I'm going to use this, which is their angled brow brush, I suppose, and I'm going to go into, now this is really weird with this. I've got a matte highlight. I think I can't use a matte highlight. I'm going to use the one next to it, which is like a golden tone. I'll show you that in the summary. Oops. I don't mind using a matte highlight if I'm doing a matte look. I didn't realise it was matte until the end. Wow. Wow, is that pigmented? I'm going to go into that again. That's better. I don't know, for some reason the top row was a little bit dry. Wow. That is beautiful, that inner corner highlight. Okay. I'm just going to take it up with that deep brown shade, take it up a little bit. That's better. Okay, now for the eyeliner, and where is it? I'm sure I brought it in. Ah, here we go. I'm using the, of course, Revolution HD Smoky Waterproof Eyeliner in the shade Black, which is all they do at the moment. I'm hoping that they're going to bring out more shades, because wow, I love this liner. Okay, so that's the liner, and of course the mascara Revolution for mascara. So that's the eye look completed. Ooh, love it actually. Now for the lip look, I'm going to go in with the lip liner Chauffeur. If you have this, great. If you don't, then you might want to try the shade Toulouse, which is from NYX, and it's one of their lip liners. I think it's about £4, something like that, and it's very, very similar to this. Unfortunately, it looks like the Chauffeur lip liner, whether you look on the Revolution site, Superdrug site, or Superdrug stores, is no longer available. I have been assured that it is making a comeback, but I don't know how long that is going to be. So if you like Chauffeur, then try Toulouse from NYX in their lip liner range. Okay, So let's apply this. Quite a neutral look, and have I brought the lipsticks in? I don't think I have. Whoops. Okay, that's fine. I'm just going to use the lip liner all over. When I started this video, I said, I know you're going to forget something. But that's fine. I often use lip liners as lipstick anyway, and I cannot see it. I was going to bring in the matte lips from Revolution and choose one of these, but that's fine. Okay, just take out my hair. I put my fringe to the side today. It's great having a fringe. You can either have it as a full fringe, you can have it to the side, you can do whatever you like with it. So that is the look using the brushes. I'll give you a close-up of the look and then give you a roundup of what I think to these brushes. Okay, I'll just go through the face brushes first of all. So first of all, I used the foundation brush. I was really surprised by this. This brush really did apply my foundation so easily. It really did sweep and buff that foundation into place. I was sceptical. I think this brush I was the most sceptical about because it was long and it wasn't as dense as what I usually use. So for this to work, I'm really impressed. It's given me a beautiful smooth finish, but my skin looks like skin. I suppose with the denser brushes that I use, it can sometimes pile the foundation on and give me a thicker kind of finish, whereas this, it's given me a really like skin kind of finish. So very impressed with that, and that was the one I was most concerned about. The next one is this one that I used. This one I used for powder to set everything in place. This one, I don't know, I feel that the length is a little bit too long. I found up here it hadn't quite patted the powder into place, and I had a little bit of, I could see the powder. Perhaps it was my fault, but underneath the eye, obviously it was my fault because it's my hand, but you know what I'm saying. I don't necessarily think it could be the brush. It fits perfectly underneath my eye area there. Perhaps that's what I need to use it for, just setting under here and perhaps in the harder to reach areas rather than the larger areas. But underneath the eye, perfect. Moving on to this. Love this, absolutely love it. For my bronzer, it's given me a really, I don't know, beautiful finish to my cheek area. It's not harsh, it's lovely blended, and I really love it. I'm obsessed with this, love it. So far out of all of the brushes that I've shared with you, I think these are beautiful, love those. The blush brush, I didn't like this so much as a blush brush. I think what I'm going to do is actually use this as a blush brush. So, you know, although Beautybay have given me their idea of how to use or what to use these excuse me, brushes for, I think this is more of my kind of blush brush, that kind of thing. And this is much more of a contour brush. That's what I would use it for those contour areas. Beautiful and perfect. I had to just get used to it. I'm so used to using the NYX not fan brush, the NYX it is a fan brush, isn't it? It's a thicker fan brush. Okay, this is the fan brush next. I don't know what to think about this. It did apply my highlight really nicely, but it just feels so flimsy. I'm used to the flex brush from Revolution being quite dense and packing on that highlight. And what I also really like about the flex brush is that it distributes that highlight how I like to wear it, which is lit from within rather than a harsh line. So I think I'll be using this for the nose highlight, but for my cheek, I don't know. I'm just not sold on that yet. Now for the eye brushes. I thought this one worked perfectly to actually pop the powder onto the lid to set my base. Absolutely beautiful, and I think it would also work beautifully to blend that crease shade as well. This was the next one that I used, which was it's wider than the others that I'm going to share with you in a moment, and really did work beautifully to get into that crease area. But it is bigger than the other two that I'm going to share with you, but also it's dense, so it packs that crease shade on, but also it's fluffy enough to blend that up. So obsessed with that, love it. The next one that I used was this, or was that one? Let me just check what I used them for. This one I put the base colour on. This one was for the transitional shade. Sorry, I'm getting confused with all the brushes. So this was the transitional shade. So it did pack that product on and then blended it out really, really effortlessly. So beautiful, love that. This is the one that I really liked. It's a little bit flatter. So it's wide but flat. And this is the one that I used for the crease. And it packed the product on, but also, so it packed it on because it's thin, but because of the width, it really did blend it out nicely as well. So love that. Then this one I used for the outer third to apply that crease shade, or they're calling it the liner shade. And again, that really worked beautifully. And I also used it underneath the eye to blend out that deep liner shade because it's small enough to get into those areas. Then we move on to, oh yeah, this one. Oh my goodness, how could I forget? This one, which is like domed, I used this to carve out that area here and to apply that eye element, so my base. I love this. It's firm so that you can get a good sharp sharp line underneath. So if you're carving out your brow, carving out your crease, or applying a base, this is amazing. Beautiful, firm enough to give you that sharp line. This one also, I used this for underneath the eye. So this is the liner brush. Loved it. It's really firm enough to get, that line, that sharp line, and work beautifully to get really near those lashes. So that you've got a very close line near the lashes. Love that. And then this one I could have used for my brows, of course. But I chose to use it as my highlight, my inner corner highlight today. Loved it. Very precise, and also it's going to give you a beautiful line for your brow if you want to apply those fake hairs with this brush. So very precise, absolutely beautiful. And I think out of the eye brushes, my favourite, and I hope I haven't just dropped it. Yes, I have. Let me just pick it up. So out of the two brushes from the eye collection that I love, it's that one which is domed and flat to carve out the areas that you want to carve out. And then the one that I dropped, which of course I needed, this one, love it, to get into the crease, but it still blends as well. So absolutely obsessed with those two. But actually, I think out of all the brushes, I think they work beautifully. I think you just have to think about what you want to make them work, or decide what you want to use them for and make them work for you. But absolutely love it. I think the brushes that I'm most obsessed with out of the collection has got to be this. My cheek powders look amazing. So yeah, really, really impressed with that. So that's everything. I knew it was going to be a long video again because of course I've got to go through the brushes, give you all the information, try them on, plus give you my review at the end. I think for £25 you're getting a good amount of brushes in here. Also, if you're interested in the brush holder, this is a toothpaste holder from Primark, which is reduced from £3 to £1, and it was in the Norwich Primark store last week or the week before. Absolutely love it. Holds all of the collection perfectly. I think for £25 these are really good. They feel sturdy, they feel soft, they're beautiful, love them. But of course, if you are looking to pick up a couple of their eyeshadow palettes, you can get that collection free, and it's worth every single penny that you're paying for those palettes. I'll have all of the details for that promotion down below for you, as well as the link to check out these brushes and the link for the eyeshadow palettes that are within this promotion as well. I'll also link down 2 videos for the Origin palette so that you can check that out. That's the first video, so testing it, also revisit, and I think that's it. Yeah, that's everything that I wanted to share with you today. Very in depth, I hope, and I hope that you found that helpful. I know a handful of you yesterday were really interested in checking out those brushes, so I hope that that has helped you. If you wanted to obviously purchase them or go for the 2 palettes. But that's everything. I will be back tomorrow as always. If you have just stumbled across my channel, I would love it if you subscribe to watch further videos. I'll have close-up pictures on my Instagram for you to check out the look that I'm wearing today. But until tomorrow now, thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Bye.